Cavaliers in a double OT. I don't even know how to explain it. Like Billy Donovan actually went to earn a lot the team and also trusted him in overtime. Hey, listen, hopefully this wakes up Billy Donovan and the Chicago Bulls to quite a bit of things. We're gonna get into it all and more, but first, let's play that winning intro.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bulls Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bulls news and content.
I see red, I see red, I see red, I see red, yeah, I see red, I see red, I see red, I see.
What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. I'm the host here, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Bulls Central Pod on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into this victory by the Chicago Bulls, in which they beat the Cleveland Cavaliers in double OT, 132 to 123. This was a game that really didn't look like at times the Bulls were going to be able to get back in it, but they found their way. DeMar DeRozan leads the way for the Chicago Bulls, going 8 of 26 from the field, 10 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 block in this game, 35 points. Nikola Vucevic, 24 points, 13 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks from Nikola Vucevic. He does foul out in this game as well, but still finds a way to impact it. Another double-double for him. Andre Drummond, who started with Vooch, 26 rebounds, 1 assist, 17 points, 3 blocks in this game. And Coby White, even though cold night shooting, he plays 50 minutes in this game, 5 of 20 from the field, 8 rebounds, 12 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, 14 points. And the thing that I like about this, even though Coby White was not shooting the ball effectively, he still led the Bulls in plus minus. That shows the impact that he's able to have even when his shot isn't falling. That's really good to see. And then Ayo Dosunmu rediscovers his shooting. He goes 4-9 from three-point range, 6 of 14 from the field, 4 assists, 3 rebounds, 1 steal, 1 block, 21 points. But then the thing that everybody's going to talk about, Onuralp Bitim, who's only played a total of 6 minutes over 2 games prior to this game, checks into this game, 27 minutes played. He goes 3 of 4 from the field, 2 of 2 from three-point range, 6 rebounds in this game, plays some really solid defense on Garland and on Donovan Mitchell at times in this game, 10 points, leading the Chicago Bulls off the bench. Julian Phillips as well, though, 14 minutes for him, 7 points, 4 points for Javon Carter, who played 13 minutes in this game. I'd rather see those at this point go to Dalen Terry, but hey, it is what it is there. But the thing that we have to acknowledge in this game before we get into the nitty-gritty stats is also Billy Donovan. I get it, it was forced upon him. When Alex Caruso was out in this game, it kind of put Billy Donovan in a position where he was going to have to play some players that he hasn't relied on a lot. He trusts Onuralp Bitim in this game. He's even in there in the overtime period. And as the first overtime period was going down to the stretch, he even ran a play for Bitim as well. Now, I don't want to overstate it and act like Bitim had this world beater game or anything like that. He was second in overall plus minus for the Chicago Bulls in this game at plus 13, 10 points, that's 6 rebounds. And then you got to watch the game. Onuralp Bitim, the thing about him, nobody's, I don't think, ever going to call him a lockdown defender, but he's an active defender. He gets after loose balls, things like that, and he really helped impact this game and this win for the Chicago Bulls in a major way. That plus 13 is a big indication of how Bitim can help the Chicago Bulls team if he's relied upon. This is a guy who's been a pro most of his life. Basically, since he's been a teenager, he's been a pro over in EuroLeague, and he's able to just come in and just play well. He understands his role right away. You can see how he understood how to operate in space, right? That as well. Bitim, hopefully, with this performance, has now made Billy Donovan realize that three-point shooter that you've been looking for has maybe been here all along. And, you know, I don't want to poo-poo on anything or anything like that, but like we could have been so far further along than this, right? If Billy Donovan went to Bitim earlier in the season and some of the other players, they'd be ready to perform. Now, luckily, Bitim, who's, like I said, been a pro over in EuroLeague for so long, is able to come in and do those things anyway. But it's just something to think about when it comes down to it. I have probably a more longer thought process on that on tomorrow's daily episode. But the Chicago Bulls in this game out-rebounded the Cleveland Cavaliers by a huge margin. 74 rebounds to the Cleveland Cavaliers only having 39 rebounds. We had 25 offensive rebounds to only their 5 offensive rebounds. That's huge in a game like this. And so that's very important for the Bulls to be able to have that. We look at points off turnovers. The Cavs did kill us in that, 22-13. But when you look at the other things, fast break points, 8-7 in favor of the Bulls. Second chance points, we had 32 second chance points to only their 11. Points in the paint, 52 points in the paint to their 46 points in the paint. And then bench points, they won that 34-21. But the Bulls were able to perform with even a shortened bench and come in here and beat one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference that are 38-19. This is why it's frustrating. When I was frustrated like yesterday against the Detroit Pistons, it's because this team can perform. Like, you just have to trust your players. And while, yeah, Kobe still played 50 minutes, DeMar played 49 minutes, these are the guys leading the league in minutes played, you were able to still play your role players quite a bit. But teams, 27 minutes played. Julian Phillips, 14 minutes played, right? These are, of course, not going to be there when Torrey Craig and Alex Caruso and Patrick Williams are all healthy, right? Which Pat isn't coming back this season. But these are players that can be relied upon if you give them the opportunity. You have to allow your players the opportunity to either sink or swim. And tonight, Billy Donovan allowed them to do that. And guess what they did? They swim. They really worked well for the Chicago Bulls, finding a way to just get shit done. And so that's really the biggest part of this, is how the Chicago Bulls were able to perform as a team and just execute overall. I really do love the way that they've been playing, man. And it says a lot. It really does say a lot. This is one of those wins that reminds you what this team is capable of. Last night reminded everybody of just how bad the Chicago Bulls can be. And you know how we kind of fall short at times where we don't necessarily need to. This was one of those games to remind you guys that, yeah, role players, they can help you. Yes, they're role players. You don't want to bet on them to save you a game, but they can help. That's one thing that, like, the Miami Heat do extremely well. And we saw a player that benefited from that now on the Cavs in Max Strus. When you give faith and you build in and build that confidence in your role players, they're able to really exceed and excel. And when you need to rely on them, they're able to step up at the right moments in their role and what they're capable of doing. And that's things that we saw tonight. Got to give out credit for that. Again, Billy Donovan gets some much needed critique as well. He earned some criticism because of things that he just refused to do up until this point. But overall, the Bulls got the win today, and they got the win in part to a player like Batum stepping up. They got the win in part because a player like Julian Phillips making some defensive plays as well as offensive plays, hitting a needed three for the Chicago Bulls, right? Those type of things are things that definitely can help this team just win. And that's just what it comes down to. Win your games, win your matchups, play hard, don't give up on yourself. That's what the Bulls did in this game. And there was a time where the Bulls absolutely could have packed it in and just realized that, hey, the Cavs are a better team. They're probably going to beat us tonight. But the Bulls didn't do that. They came in, they stepped up, they won that fourth quarter by 3 points to help push it into overtime. Big three-pointer needed for that as well. And then they come into those overtime periods and execute excellently well. And they just outlasted the Cleveland Cavaliers today. When you look at the start of that second quarter, the Bulls came out with more energy than what the Cavs came out. The first overtime period, it was basically even. The second overtime period, the Bulls just had more energy than the Cleveland Cavaliers, and it showed. Even though the Bulls were on the second of a back-to-back, well, so were the Cleveland Cavaliers as well. The Bulls and the Cavs were on second of back-to-backs, but this is the way you want to see your team perform. This is the way that you want to see them execute. This is the way that you sitting on their back and just play well. And you got to give credit where credit's due for that one. And I got to give love to my Chicago Bulls for the way they were able to execute and come out here and take care of the game of basketball today, man. Love the way that the Bulls played. Love what they did today. And, man, gotta really love it. Let's go into the comment section and see how you guys are feeling. Shay's in the building, says, just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in. Take a shot, Haize. I never said I was going to take no shot. Drum needs to be back next year. We'll see what happens with that, right? Because it may not be as easy as what it seems. Like, they may financially just not be able to bring Drum back. I love this game. We got a W, like how we played today, Haize. I like how we played as well, Anthony. We played really good today. Really good. I love the way that the team executed, man. Even Stacy advocates for Batum. I think people see what Batum can bring, right? They see what he can bring. And you just got to trust that he's going to be able to do it at the NBA level. Fucking finally, Billy gives Bateem a chance and great things happen. Been wanting him to get a chance for long. Javon also with the low light of the season with the pass on the layup. I mean, that was in the first half. Let's focus on the second half. But yeah, that definitely did happen. That's Javon Carter, man. This is why I hate this effing team. Lose to the Pistons, then turn around and stop their losing streak against the Cavs. What the heck? Haha. That's the duality of the Chicago Bulls, man. That is the duality of this Chicago Bulls team. They just, it's crazy. It's crazy. Let's see. I am beyond shook. I don't think any of us expected this win, but it seems like they really self-reflected yesterday. I love the way OB played. I hope Billy Donovan felt dumb for not playing him yesterday, especially in a game where you just needed some three-point shooting for sure. Let's see how else we got. Whoa, wow. Lloyd, you tripping on that comment, bro. I'm not going to read that one. Keep OB on this level. He's him. I mean, listen, I'm not going to say he's him, right? It's one game, but OB has a skill set that the Bulls need, and that's the most important thing. When you need a specific, that's what role players are for, right? They play a specific role. And I don't mean role player in a derogatory way, but Ernolat Bateem can step up and play a role for the Chicago Bulls right now. And it'd be great to see that this performance tonight be rewarded in keeping him in the rotation. Let's hope that Billy Donovan keeps him in that rotation. Prove me wrong in the building. Says, hey, Haize, don't curse me out or call me dumb. LOL, I commented on your post a week ago. If Billy played Bateem or Drell, the Bulls would play better because they need three-point shooters and shooters. Well, they didn't just play better because of that. So it's not like you always oversimplify things. I'm not going to call you dumb, but yes, Bateem and Drell, we'll see, but they do bring a skill set that the Bulls need. Now, the Bulls have issues other than just three-point shooting, but a lot of games, like in last night's game against the Pistons, they lost because of simple math. So theoretically, they can absolutely help in that. Let's wait and see if it's going to be consistent. Hopefully, Billy Donovan keeps Bateem in the lineup, but definitely something that can happen there. Mike Jones says, man, just when you count them boys out, they show you why you shouldn't. Also, is it just me, or does it always take a Herculean effort for the Bulls to win? Not that I'm complaining. I won't say always, but it's like the team likes to come back from behind and things like that. So we'll see. You watch the Windy City games. I haven't, but so far, what I'm seeing, I think this is the best G League Windy City Bulls player in history. These young guys are hungry and ready to play. Well, now keep in mind, we had Antonio Blakeney, who was a G League MVP. So that's a little bit different, but this guy's definitely can perform, man. And that's why I say role players play a role for a reason. And I think sometimes you look at that term of role players as like it's a derogatory thing when it really isn't. It's not derogatory. Role players can help your team substantially. And so let's hope that continues as well for the Bulls, man. Drum and Vooch were big on boards. Love the fight from the whole team tonight. Completely agree with you. Vooch's nutties and DeMar side babies was both seeing red today. That's crazy. That's a crazy comment. The win is so on brand for this team on the heels of a horrible loss. They get an improbable win. Agree with you on that one. Bateem is perfect Zach replacement. Zach gave us a 150-point game this season, and everything else was decent role player production. Don't care about injuries. That's what he gave us. Let's go, OB. But still, you still got to be realistic. Zach was also coming back from injury. OB is not showing anything to show that to say that he can be a Zach LaVine replacement. Not yet. You just can't say that. Now, you can say that again, and it's only one game. He gave us 10 points. Let's not act like he scored like 25 out there. But I love the energy, the fact that he does actively go after rebounds, the fact that he had enough court awareness on that steal to pass it up ahead. I can't remember who was it. Io. They ended up, ended up getting stolen. But just those type of plays, those are plays that can win you basketball games. And so at least in this game, he really did show some of that, right? BL Jet says, how the fuck Bulls lose Pistons? You lose to the Pistons but beat the Cavs. Hey, that's any given day. Basketball, man. Johnny Rico says, what a game. Best double overtime game in years. DeMar, Io, and Drummond were outstanding. Way to go, Bateem. Free Bateem. Shout out to you, Haize. Keep up the good work, bro. Thank you for that, brother. We trying out here. We trying. Billy 100% misreads the game tape and stats and attributes Bateem's stats as Javon's. That's funny. Def was the response from yesterday we needed. Only got to watch overtimes. The rebounds were off the hook, and the team's defense, I think, is good for the bad pick and roll D the Bulls have. He gets over screens. That's actually, Hamid, a great point, is that getting over screens, especially for a team that gives up a lot of three-point shots, that can really, again, it's only one player doing it, but him doing that, depending on who he's guarding, can really help disrupt that three-point shooting by other teams. Again, great game tonight. I'm not ready to crown anything yet. I'm trying to be a little bit, temper my expectations, but this is a really good platform to build off on, right? And that's what I've said with players like Dalen. That's what I've said with players like Julian Phillips. This is a really good platform to build off on. Let's see if the team and the coaching staff is going to trust him to do that as well. So, Blessed Up Shay in the building says, thank you. Like I said, play the team. Thank you. I mean, listen, you got to give people opportunities, especially when you have so many players out with injury. And that's what Billy Donovan did today. And Bateem and Julian Phillips responded really well to it. Haize, when you play hard every night, you're going to win a lot of games. You probably have no business being in or winning. Tibbs. Yeah, I mean, listen, what did I say? Was that last season? I can't. It was a really good quote. But damn, what was it? Sometimes heart will do what skill can't, or something like that. And that's what it comes down to, right? When you give that hard effort, you are able to be in situations that you necessarily shouldn't be in. So for sure. Great seeing the team love on Bateem after the game. Absolutely agree with you on that one, man. Haize just robbed the anime store in China. Said, no, it's a bullshit. It's the Year of the Dragon. So they have like Year of the Dragon tees for every team. Every team has this. That Mitchell 3 was nasty work, though. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, Vooch killed that. Listen, Vooch was pissed. I was surprised. Now, I can't remember. Did Billy Donovan not have a challenge left? Because to me, just because it fouled Vooch out, I would have challenged that play regardless. Because I think that if the refs would have re-looked at that, they may have called a foul on the DeMar rejection before the Vooch play. But again, we won the game, so I'm not gonna woulda, coulda, shoulda. But it's just something interesting to look at. I do think that I was a little bit surprised that Billy Donovan didn't just try to challenge it anyway. But maybe he wanted to hold on to that challenge. So. Well said, Haize. Thanks. Well, thank you for that, Jeffrey. I don't know what I said. I've been talking a lot, so I don't know exactly what you're saying thanks to, but hey, hopefully, thank you for that. But yeah. Let's see what else we got in the building. Even with Levine out, Chicago is still mid. Have to say it, but it's true. Well, yeah, we know that Chicago's still mid. Like, I don't think anybody would have made that conversation for different. Like, I don't know. Did you just want to say something? I don't get it. Gutsy win. Credit to the Bigs and DeMar. Keep playing the ginger bearded dude. Io showed up at the end. Kobe stayed aggressive with that short shot. Damn, got me stressed at times. JC out. Well, listen, Kobe, like I said, the fact that he still led the team in plus minus shows the effort that he was given in other areas, and that's what you want a player to do. You definitely want a player to do that, is that if they don't have the ability or they're not shooting the ball well, okay, now what else do you give me? You're not scoring the ball efficiently. What else are you going to give me? And he answered that with 12 assists, eight rebounds, 1 steal, 1 block. Solid, right? That's more than solid. So almost still had a triple-double. So gotta appreciate that for what he was able to do. We got Michael in the building. Says, Haize, Billy got to do it at some point. I know tonight wasn't the night, but when you think Kobe's going to get his shots at game winners? Well, listen, I don't know. He had a shot at it before, right? But Kobe wasn't shooting well today. It would have been crazy to go to Kobe, right, when he's this cold from the field. So we got to get Kobe back in rhythm first, right? Yo, much respect to Billy Donovan for finally giving Bateem a shot, and he showed out. Listen, Bateem played excellently well for the Bulls today. Got to give him his credit for it. This team is absolutely horrible. By the time we are competing for a championship, DeRozan and Vooch will be too old. I'm still very upset that the Bulls won because AK may resign DeRozan to keep this BS going. Well, listen, one win isn't going to. If you're watching this win and the thing that you're thinking about is, oh my God, this may make him resign DeMar DeRozan, they would have done that already. Keep in mind, they stopped negotiating with DeMar, which means that they had a stopping point in which they just weren't able to meet maybe what DeMar was demanding. Now, I don't think that winning a couple of more games when you're fighting for a 9th seed is all of a sudden going to make you say, oh, we didn't want to pay you $20 million. Now we're going to pay you 20 instead of 15. So let's temper that a little bit. We'll see what happens in the offseason. Haize, very glad to see you. Been a solid minute. Also, cheers to almost 1K videos. Well, we're well over 1K videos. The 1K thing is just daily episodes. I think we got over 2,000 videos on the channel. So well over 1,000, but thank you for that, brother. Hit that like button and subscribe to your boy. This goes a very long way. It definitely does. Definitely does. How do you feel about Kansas Ford? Look, we'll get to we got a whole season to get through. I'll get to draft prospects towards the end of the season, man. Great win for the Bulls. Billy Donovan better involved, but him in the rotation from now on. Let's hope so, man. Let's hope so. Let's hope so. He did everything that you can ask of him, right? I hope the reporters asked Billy Donovan why he hasn't played with Tim. I just want to see the dumb gum smacking face of his be like, that's fun. Well, no, Billy Donovan's going to have a really good answer. That's the thing. You don't always believe the answer, but Billy Donovan more times than not has a really good answer for most things. That's just is what it is. All of y'all talking about Nikola Vucevic need to play behind Drummond, need to realize that this is just one game. Relax. I mean, and don't act like Vooch was bad tonight. Like, that's just like last night when people were like, oh, it's DeMar's fault. I'm like, you can't blame DeMar, not tonight, right? So, no, it's Vooch played really well in his role today. Both rookies did a good job rebounding their positions. That really stood out to me with 12 rebounds between the two. That's a really good point as well. That's something that I hadn't even looked at when looking at that. So, yeah, 11 rebounds, though, between the rookies. If you're talking about Batum and Phillips, it was 11 rebounds. But still really solid production from those guys. Funny how we won without Caruso's defense. Wasn't expecting that at all, honestly. Listen, Caruso is an important part to the Chicago Bulls team. But I think that when he's not out there, you have to play with such effort to just give you what he gives you on the regular, just naturally being him. And this Bulls team did. You can't watch this game and not realize how much effort the Bulls did give, especially in the fourth quarter in those overtime periods. Now, had Caruso been out there, things would have changed. But also, you're not having Caruso's been shooting the ball 40% from three this season. So I guess I can't say that he won't give you the shooting necessarily. So. What disgusts me the most about Javon Carter is we paid him more than we paid Torrey Craig. TC does more for us from the bench, injured, the ball-headed whole ass ever will. I mean, and the thing, it's not even the money, right? Yeah, we paid him more. I get why, right? He's younger, things like that. But it's the fact that it's guaranteed money. I think all the years on this contract are guaranteed, if I'm not mistaken. And that's the part that hurts. Right now, maybe he starts playing better. Maybe, and we've seen it before. Sometimes players have, so the third year is a player option, which he can pick up. But 2 years guaranteed. But sometimes a player comes to the team in that first year, it's kind of them filling it out and adapting to a new role. And especially he's not playing with superstars. So maybe Javon Carter plays better next season. But right now, with the information that we have and how he's been performing, I'd be remiss to say that he's not actively hurting the team, because he absolutely is, man. He absolutely is. I was at the game, then lost my voice. DeMar is him, and look what happens when you give folks some time to shine. Batum went crazy, clutch boards. Hey, Batum was all over the place, man, and you gotta love him for what he's able to do, man. Gotta give much love to Batum for how he performed today. Archangel, George Nang loves those black uniforms, and I'm such a good mood. I'll go as far to say Nang's black uniform was kind of slimming. That's funny. Why are you talking about Nang's? I mean, listen, he's not a Bull, so I don't care. Crack your jokes, man. Drummond with 25 rebounds. Is going to be sad to see him leave in free agency, because there's no way the Bulls will be able to keep him. Can't be mad, though. Get your money, Andre. Well, here's the thing, especially with the update now that Lonzo Ball has had another setback. If the Bulls do file the career-ending injury exception and Lonzo Ball's $20 million contract is removed from the books, at that point, then you probably can keep Andre Drummond. Now, you got to ask yourself, how much do you really want to keep this team the same? But, yeah, for sure. Orlando says, out rebounding by 35, showed the difference when they play with heart. They can compete for a lack of talent. Listen, heart will do that for you. Now, at some point, you're just going to run up to talent that you need to match talent with, but heart helps that. When we had the Baby Bull era, right? The Kirk Heinrich, Luau Deng, not Andre Snowshioni Bulls, those teams had skill. I don't want to act like they weren't a skilled team, because they were, but they didn't have any superstar on that team, but they were able to consistently beat and compete with the superstar level teams because of the heart that they had, because of the effort and execution that they brought to that team. And so that definitely helps you kind of overcome some of that sometimes. So what's Batum's plus minus? Batum was the second highest plus minus at plus 13 in this game. So the only player higher than him was Kobe White at plus 15. So shout out to the gingerbeard in words. That's funny. That's hilarious. What's good, Haize? I'm in the process of moving, so I didn't get to watch the game, but I did see the goofy play by Javon, and I believe he deserves no minutes at all after that. Listen, we can say that all day. Billy Donovan's still going to play him and give him an opportunity, and that's kind of just a side effect of Billy Donovan being your head coach. Yasuki, I said that right. Just won some bread talking, taking the ML is only right. I share some with you, bro. C-Ray. Well, thank you for that, bro. Thank you for supporting the channel at any level, my brother. I appreciate that. Reginald says, I can definitely see the Bulls signing Drummer for 3 years, 24. I won't say that. I don't know if I can see them signing him for 3 years. I don't know if they give him that length of deal because of where the team is right now. Now, if they make some considerable moves, maybe at that point. But right now, I don't think I can see him signing them for a 3-year deal. I just don't see that. Cannon Peacock in the building says, with the emergence of Io, I wonder if we potentially missed out on trading Alex while his value was at its highest. Well, the thing is, here's the thing, and I'm not gonna say for sure that it's gonna be as high as next season, but he still has another year under his contract. And because of the way that he plays, as long as he doesn't have a major injury, the fact that his contract's expiring and that they can extend him, because keep in mind, with veterans, you can extend them up until the last day of that calendar season, meaning that you go all the way into free agency open to the next year. So I can see the Bulls still getting a lot back for Alex Caruso next year, but the team would probably want to make sure that Alex Caruso agrees to an extension as part of the trade. So that's something that can happen next year. So it's not, I think that value is still going to be high for Alex Caruso if they decide to move him next year. Now, I've been of the mindset that if you try to negotiate, if you can lock in Alex Caruso to a contract extension this offseason, cool. If you can't, I think at that point you have to start trying to move him by the trade deadline if he's not going to agree to a contract extension, just to kind of get some of that value out of other teams. Sam from Maryland says, Haize, do you think it's a possibility that they didn't try against Detroit? I'm speaking on the fourth quarter part. Maybe they saw it was close and just decided to not try to prepare for tonight. Well, I mean, it did seem like they gave up on that game towards the fourth quarter. Like I said, there was a period in time where the Pistons were up by only 6 points, and it just the look, the body language of the team just seemed like they were done at that point. And I don't know if a player like oh, we just play the Cavs tomorrow, but there's something to be said that maybe that's the case. I'm still mad at Nang for trying to scrap with Io last game. That's why I started ripping him. Don't mess with our precious Kobe. That's funny. That's hilarious. Ali Fault in the building says, super chat, thank you for supporting the channel, brother. Says, Haize, I think Billy Bubblegum Donovan heard you loud and clear and played Batum finally. He played out and channeled his inner Nocioni. That's not a bad comp for him. He's a more athletic Nocioni in a lot of ways. My brothers from L Sampler Pod says, yo, Haize, Batum is a guy. Iowa's low-key turning into a very, very good player. A two-way player at that, for sure. So, yeah, that Iowa's really, that's why I said we got to start. If Kobe's made a leap, Iowa's made a huge step. It's almost willing to call it a leap as well, right? So thoughts on Sanogo. I don't understand why we're still playing Taylor. When we start Drummond and Vooch together, it doesn't make sense. He's not a center. I mean, listen, you got to play somebody with size. And while he's only 6'4", he has the body and the wingspan to do it. You got to play somebody, right? So he's going to play some minutes while we got everybody out. It just kind of is the nature of the game there, brother. But I definitely understand your issues and your concerns there for sure. As Carter was going to the rim with the ball, he visualized his girl getting hit and threw the ball back out. That's crazy. That's crazy. I didn't know where you were going with that when I started reading that comment. Got to start proofreading these comments. That's wild. Io barely started to step up this month scoring wise. DeMar loses games at times. White is doing good up until recently. The bench is trash, man. Well, the bench is partially trash because two of our bigger bench players or better bench players are in the starting lineup. Alex Caruso has been starting now for a month. Ayo Dosunmu's now starting because of the other injuries that we have down. Drummond did start in this game. If you move just those three players to the bench, it drastically looks different coming off the bench. So again, we have depth. It's just unfortunately now a lot of that depth is into the starting lineup because we're missing Zach, we're missing Torrey Craig, we're missing Patrick Williams, we're missing Alex Caruso in this game. Those are four key rotational players, not just back into the bench players. Those are key rotational players. So naturally now you're forcing players into different roles. So that's why the bench is trash. So if you can develop people like a Bateem and like a Julian Phillips to be able to give you something, it helps that a lot. So how does the takeaway ball movement when he was averaging 5+ assists after his first injury of the season? How does he take away ball movement? Are you talking about Zach LaVine? So averaging assist doesn't mean you're taking away ball. Doesn't mean ball. Those can be two very different things. But I didn't see your previous comment, so I didn't see your previous comment, so I don't know. Maybe I'm reading something wrong in that. But let me know what you're talking about, and then I can try to answer it in a different way. But yeah. Bateem is the shooter we've been missing. I mean, there's a lot of reason to say that and think that. That's for sure. Well, ESPN did just update it that now it does show Bateem is having a plus minus a plus 16. Okay. Julian Phillips also had a plus minus of plus 10. AK called last night after the game to Billy and said, "You're fired if you don't play OB next game." Yeah, that didn't happen. Like I mentioned earlier, LaVine is still a threat. Teams need to worry about. Heck, the dude can score at will. Yeah, but he wasn't. Like we can say that, but he's also a liability defensively more times than not. Pick and roll defense is absolutely atrocious. The late game mistakes that he makes because his basketball IQ isn't high. Like, don't get me wrong, Zach LaVine is a beast with scoring, but it's not all of it. It's not this one for one thing. You can't look at it in this vacuum of just saying, "Hey, Zach LaVine can average 20 points. Let's add 20 points to this team. Bam, we're winning more games." It's not that simple, right? Because that's not the way that it works out. You change the way that you get those points. You change the way that you have to operate as a team. So, Haize, now that Billy is giving Bateem some time, the Bulls can play with more pace and space. Well, let's not say that now that he's giving Bateem more time. Bateem played this game. We don't know if that's going to continue, right? So we can't necessarily say for sure that that's going to be something that keeps happening, but it is something that he's done this game. Let's see if he builds off on it and he keeps him as part of his rotation. There's something to be said for players having fresh legs, man. Billy D is running DeMar and Kobe into the ground. I mean, he kind of has to play them, though, right? Like, Javon Carter's terrible. Alex Caruso, so he's out. Zach LaVine's out. You're playing Ayo Dosunmu now as your starter, so that eliminates him taking some minutes away from them. It's kind of difficult now. If OB keeps playing the way, maybe that you do take some of that off, right? But you're still going to rely heavily on your best players to really kind of give you those minutes. Haize, you said it best. Being a fan of the Bulls is like being in the most toxic relationship ever. Also, do you think Sanogo will get playing time at all? I don't know why he can't get 5 to 10 minutes over Taylor. Again, Billy Donovan is going to go with kind of the more trusted things. That's always what Billy Donovan has done. That's always what he showed. I don't see any reason why that's going to change, personally. Bateem's poise is what makes him different than our other young guys. He might be a great value version of Ginobili. Like I said, I like him as a evolved version of Andres Nocioni, but I see what you're getting at with that as well. The open layup that Javon Carter decided to skip for no reason is very emblematic of how some players are hesitating and scary. Players with no guts are contagious to decrease the team's morale. Points were made. From Casey Johnson, OB said he idolized DeMar DeRozan growing up, and when DeRozan hugged him in the second OT to tell him how well he played, it meant the world to him. That's a great basketball moment, man. That's just a great basketball moment. Nice, DeMar OB info. Yeah, that's an amazing story. That's an amazing story. Kobe IOP will these elite two-way players to build the future around. They are the baby Clippers. Elite? Yep, I'm sorry. You can't say P. Will and elite in anything right now. And Kobe and Io are building that, right? Let's see. They got to be a little bit more consistent before we can say elite, right? I'm still hurt and embarrassed about yesterday, though. This is going to sting for a while, but listen, why? Get over it. Like, and I don't mean that derogatorily, like to come at you, but like you win some, you lose some. Like there's that's why there's so many games this season. We played again tonight. We play again on Friday. Let's get over it. It's not that big of a deal. Javon Carter needs to stop, switch the pump fakes. Everyone knows he's not shooting. That's crazy. Haize, do you see AK looking back into the Euro League more and more as the seasons go on for more young role players and talent outside of the draft? Definitely a possibility. It's not like AK isn't tapped in to European basketball. So that's definitely a possibility. Definitely a possibility. Huge dub today. I still love it. I still remain excited for our future. The players are out there taking team-friendly deals. Barring injuries, our season next year looks lethal at full strength. I don't know if they're taking team-friendly deals. Like Kobe was coming off one of his worst statistical seasons ever when he signed it. I would assume he was coming off a sophomore slump. Nikola Vucevic, all the disappointment around him, even though he played really well last season. So I don't know if players are just saying, hey, I want to be a Bull. Let me take a team-friendly deal. I think they're looking and surveying and saying, hey, I didn't play that good. Yeah, what you got for me, AK? So glad the team had a good game and can leave this game on a positive note with the confidence high, because ain't no telling if Donovan going to even play him again. You know how Bubblegum is with his coaching. Yeah, I wish I could say that we can trust Billy Bubblegum Donovan to coach a solid game, but we just can't. But all right, guys. We're gonna go ahead and I know we usually go longer in the post game. It was a double OT game. I still got to do Locked On Bulls, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you guys are following the channel at Bull Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, bullcentralpod@gmail.com. And then lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We are the number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related, thanks to you guys. And like to end everything on, go Bulls. Love you guys. See red if you can. And let's play that winning outro.
This has been a presentation of the Breaks Media.
I see red.